And the next command that you're going to learn, or somehow we're going to have a brief review upon them, are the commands in Align toolbar. And as you're all probably familiar with align tools, you can align the specified objects with each other. For example, align top, or align bottom or down, align left, then we align them at the left side, and also align right. Check it out from the origin point, and also horizontal and vertical, and align centers. Let us check it out. Align centers by this way. And distribute objects. In distribute, here we specify the objects at least 3, and when it spreads object out evenly between the end objects. And following that, here we got some options in the command line: directions and mode and spacing. For example, align x-axis, and then it spreads them out. And one of the famous applications of distribute, for instance, here we got a curve. Following that, we're gonna use array linear to array an object on this curve linearly. For example, here I specify the number of the item 17, and then the reference points, and I adjust them. Check it out. But here you may want to use array curve command, but we may have different results. I create a copy from the curve to exemplify the another case by using array curve. I mean, the items will be arranged differently. I specify the path curve, then the number of the items 17. Check it out. The last one is not placed on the curve, while at the previous example I can select the last item and then I move it. Check it out. Then I select the other items, then I click on distribute, and then I distribute them along x-axis to adjust the spacing between them. So this was one of the applications of this command that it could be useful. And then the next, which is orient. In the command of orient, here as you can see we got two objects, but actually I should remove or delete the clipping plane. I show the clipping plane and then I delete it, and now the objects are displayed. Well done. Then here if I start orient, the orient command moves or copies, rotates and scales objects using 2 reference and 2 target points. Here at first we should select the objects and then picking 2 reference points in order to move the object at its new position. I specify the first and the second reference point. Following that, it's time to specify the target points first and second at its new position, like this way. Again, I start the command, I select the object. Here we got the option of a scale, 1D and 3D scale. If I set it to 1D, then it will scale the object only along the axis between the target points. And here as you can see, you can scale it only along the axis between the target points. So it is just available at this axis. But if I set it to scale 3D, then the second target point defines the direction of the transformation and the scale factor for the objects. At first the reference points and then the target point. Check it out. The second target point is the scale factor for the object. So guys, we learned how to work with orient, and the next that I want to explain it is orient 3 points. In fact, the orient 3 points, this command moves or copies and rotates objects using 3 reference and 3 target points. Perspective view, and then I set the gumball align to C plane. And then I move these edges by this way. Following that, I want to orient the smaller object on the bigger one at this low first surface. Let us try orient. Here as you can see we get orient 3 points, orient camera to surface that we've talked about it in previous session, and also orient on curve, and just previously we talked about orient. For example, here I specify the object to orient, and then the first and the second reference points. Following that, we should specify the target points, and let me set a scale to no since we don't need it. But as you can see, the object is not connected to the face because the reference was not defined. So this time we should use orient 3 points. Then here we should specify 3 reference points, the first edge, second one, and then the third one, width, length, and height. And then we specify the 3 target points, and then the third target points. Check it out. Here, as you can see, the object is well oriented on the face, better than the previous one. So here in this set of commands, we learned 2 new commands, which were orient and orient 3 points. We delete these objects, and then I'm gonna talk about 2 other commands that you'd better to know them. Here, suppose that we got a curve. Following that, I want to continue the curve or extend the curve. Here we got the command of continue curve and also continue interpolate curve. The continue curve command continues to draw the selected curve using control points curve. I mean, the selected curve is considered as a control point curve. So then we can continue the curve. But the another one, which was continue interpolate curve, continues to draw the selected curve using interpolate curve. Check it out. Can continue the interpolate curve by this way. And the point here is that when we move the curve, the previous points change too. So guys, we're done with these 2. Then in the continuation, we're going to talk about the dimensions and measuring the distances, and also chop settings. I mean printing settings. And in order to print a plan view, there are some issues in the first that are required. For example, we should adjust the layout, adjusting the line weights, and also the color of the print, and also the line type. So in general, we should put these issues into consideration. After that, we're gonna measure the dimensions, and we can have the dimensions and measures in different sizes or different types that we should be able to specify the types at each parts too. So the first thing that I'm gonna talk about, which got the first priority to be learned, is about layout. That here from the name of the viewport, you can click on this plus sign and then click on new layout. Following that, in new layout dockable window, you can create a new sheet or a new page. For example, you may want to print the data or information or plan view in an A4 page. So we adjust the size here, and then I specify A4, or you may want to customize the size of the page or the size of the sheet. Following that, you can specify the width and height of the sheet, but I choose A3 as the size, and then you can choose the portrait and landscape, and also the printer, and assigning the name for the page or the sheet. For instance, I name it sample 01. Check it out. Following that, in initial detail count, here you should specify the detail count, so the number of the details that you want to import to the plan, or in other words, the number of the views that you want to adjust them on the sheet. But here, if I create the layout, you will understand the detail count and the other topics. So here we can specify your desired initial detail count and then modify it later if it was needed. 3, okay. But before creating a new layout, we have to we have to have modeled an object or a solid object or a model before. For instance, here I'm gonna open a project, and then I wanna create the layout, and I'm gonna place the documentaries on the sheet or layout. Let me import the file, since I don't want the layout to be deleted. For instance, here we got the Freedom Tower in Tehran. Let us check it out at first. Then in the continuation, I'm going to have this modeled in 2D drawings in the layout, and then place them in the on the page. And here, as you can see, we got one of the views, which is the top view on the page. So here in perspective, then make 2D. I select the object, I click on the object, and then into the drawing options, here note that you should not click or check hidden lines, and then I check third angle projection, and don't forget to group the output. So I check it, and then I specify the layer name Azadi Tower, and then OK. Then here we should wait for the process of creating 2D drawings until it finishes. Then we continue the explanations. Let's check it out. Well done. We got these 2D drawings from the model, imported model. Then here in sample 1, I want to remove the imported drawing, and then delete the imported drawing and replace it with another one. And here we can add 3 details, as you can see, which are the initial detail counts that we've specified. Here we can select the control points and then modify the size of each detail. For instance, for this one I select them and then I shrink the size, and also these by using scale, and then I move it to here. Check it out. Then we can add one more detail at the empty space. So here in drafting, here I click on add detail view, and then I draw the detail view by using a smart track. Check it out, aligned with the other details. Well done. Following that, for placing each of these 2D drawings at each of these detail views, we can double click at each of the details, and then here by using set view, we set it to perspective. Check it out, and then zoom extent, and then I adjust the camera viewport like this way. Check it out. And even we can modify the viewport, for example rendered viewport. Check it out, or shaded, ghosted, and other viewports. And whenever you wanted to cancel and then save the changes, you can double click. Check it out, and then here at the top view, and then I move these 2D drawings, and we can hide this for now. So here we got the 3D perspective view, and then you can choose to show the edges or display it or hide them. Then I'm gonna place the solid here. I'm gonna place the plan view here. Double click, and then I set it to the top view by this way, and then I adjust the top view like this. Then at the another detail view, I set it to the top like this way, and I adjust the another view by this way. Then at the last detail view, here I can mention some features and other details. So here we can delete these, and then we can mention some features and details about the project. So this was the way that you can create the layout and then adjust the detail views. And the advantage here is that you can specify the dimensions of each of the members or each of the items. For example, the size of the page is A3 and the size of the detailed views are specified. But here you may ask that we haven't specified the scale factor. Here, for specifying the scale factor for each of these detail views, we should at first double click, and then from properties scale I click on edit. Then in the command line we got the distance on layout. As you can see right now, the specified unit for layout is per millimeter and the specified unit for drawing is per meter. So here at first we should specify the distance on layout per millimeters. For example, I want to relate 10 millimeters in the layout, So 10 millimeters distance and layout. However, I will tell you how to modify the unit. I import 10 and then I press enter. Following that, the distance in model, for example 1 meter. I mean right now the scale is 1 to 100, but it is not proper. But note that when we zoom in or zoom out, we ruin the scale factor. Again, I click on edit, and this time again, distance and layout, 5, and then 1, check it out, which is 1 to 200. So by this way, we can use trial and error for specifying the proper scale factor. But this time, for example, I want to specify 1 to 200, but I should maximize the detail view like this way. And we can remove the another one and maximize the other one, check it out. And then by click and drag and holding down shift, we adjust it in the detail view. So right now the scale factor is approximately 1 to 200. However, some parts are not positioned in the frame or they are out of boundaries. And then here at the perspective view, if I click on edit view, edit scale, here as you can see perspective details cannot be scaled. This shows that scaling the perspective view details are not available. Well done. And let us talk about the other topics. Right now we just learned how to adjust the scale of the detail views and also how to create them, how to add detail view, and then in layout properties we can get access to the details and modify them, the size, the custom printer name. For example, you may want to set it to A2 not A3 by this way, and then I maximize the detail views boundaries, I extend them, and then